What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of The Nexus. Today we are here. We are finally here after many trials to do a deck profile on Joshua's number one undefeated double Cunning Han deck. Joshua, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing very good. Doing very good. I was running out
It,
of to say, so I'm happy the mic tests are over.
Yeah, I mean, absolute professionalism as always from the Nexus. And yeah, no, thanks for hanging out. You're in a very busy weekend, right? You're playing some is it European tournament
Yeah.
for
Final
Final
Fantasy.
Fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So best of luck with that. We'll try not to keep you too long whilst
That's
we rack your brains with my favorite deck. So all right. So you had a great showing on both days. You came third on day one and first on day two. So how was your weekend in general before we crack on with the deck?
So I will say it's been a while since I've had such an early start to get across London for a tournament. So it was good,
That's fair.
because I've gotten used to staying close to the venue and stuff, getting up nice and late. Bit of a snap back to reality. It's fine.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. The weekend was great. Honestly, the two judges you had were absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Shout out to Sav and Rob. Very,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good judges. They'll be judging this weekend actually for the store championships that I'm doing, the
nice.
showdowns.
Yeah.
So
I thoroughly hope to see them again judging. And
absolutely.
honestly, the weekend ran smoothly. There were like no repairs. You were a great TO, to be honest. I felt like when I
Thank you very
brought
much.
my new friend to the game on
Hmm.
the Sunday, it was good to know that there's a friendly TO and there's going to be a little lenience when it comes to making sure the deck's all submitted on time and
Yeah,
just making
absolutely. I
sure
mean,
everyone's looked after, really.
yeah, player experience is definitely my main thing with TOing, and that aligns with Zach from UKTC. So we enjoy working together because we have the same sort of vibe. But yeah, no, glad you enjoyed yourself, man. And no, I'm really pleased that you did so well with my favorite deck. So let's get into your version of it. So firstly, if you could just go through your matchups. I know you had a very aggro orientated
Yeah.
day.
I mean,
Um,
the day
yeah.
started with me playing against Kylo Yellow, and I thought, oh, he's gonna want to do combo with Tori to do like 25 damage on mana turn 4. But he just played like 4 1 drops and killed me. It was not close. That set the
Ooh,
tone for
damn.
the day, to be honest. So I had Kylo,
Brutal.
Kylo Yellow, where game one he had something like 4 1 drops. I just died. Then game two he had no turn one play, and I was like, that means on average the deck draws 2 1 drops a game. So think about it.
Mm,
And then game three I was able to get like a. It was one of those where you get the tech down early, and then on his turn where he could flip the Kylo, he wanted to push damage, but that meant I got to flip the DJ before he flipped the Kylo, and then I was able to like close it out like that. But
yeah.
after that, it was
So,
a.
so I mean, yeah. So, which card do you reckon? Do you think DJ was the winning card on game three? There sounds like you shut him out before he could get established.
100%, 100%. And
Yeah,
sometimes
DJ is such a killer.
even if you know you're going to lose on board, sometimes you just have to flip the DJ and go, I'm going to be losing for the next 2 turns, but maybe this mana gain will help me recover a
Yeah,
bit.
that tip in the scales, slowly
Exactly.
letting you stabilize. Awesome, awesome. So, what about round two?
That was a streamed game versus Boba Cunning.
Oh yeah.
And I was pretty glad that I got that one to be streamed because I really got to showcase the deck because it was one where I was on like
Stream
14
pods are incidentally available on our channel, guys. Go like and subscribe. Thank you.
I highly recommend watching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really got to showcase the deck because it was one where my opponent put a lot of early pressure on, then I stabilized, then suddenly I'm on 14 resource to his like 6 or 7, and I'm picking up my resource pile with tech in play
Nuts.
and everything to
Yeah.
get it one. And it just sort of shows that what the deck can do because you do have a very strong aggressive drawer in the deck, but you do have those go late angles thanks to tech, which is
Mm.
really, really nice. So I'm glad that was a stream game. It also
Tech's
showed,
Tech's an incredible card that really brings this whole deck together, I find.
yeah, 100%. I
Uh,
mean, if Tech DJ didn't come out this set, I wouldn't be playing the deck. I'd still be playing it with green. But DJ, whew, what a guy!
yeah, ridiculous card, especially considering it was like the last reveal, like absolutely amazing. So yeah, so what did you say round two was?
That was a Boba Cunning.
Boba Cunning, yeah. So
Beautiful.
how was that matchup? I mean, it,
Um,
you just outvalued them with the mana, I guess, and
Unlike Sabine, they have no burn from hand. The only like burn they can get is off of the Fire Spray because it comes
yeah,
now. So ultimately, you can take 29 points of damage, and they can never deal the 30th as long as you
it,
have
yeah.
reactions to the Fire Spray.
As
Because
long
they
as you got
don't,
the answers, yeah,
because they don't have any cards that just say deal damage to your base without any units. So you can. This is a matchup that Hand Cunning should never lose because of the lack of burn. You get to play it nice and slow to your tempo, and then recover the game because they will get ahead early. They have the plethora of absolutely strong units at the start, and their leader is obviously better than yours because of 4/7 instead of a 4/6. And on their leader
yeah. I
phase,
mean,
they get access to 8 mana, and you get access to 7. So they're just better than you in all, all regards.
yeah. I
But
mean, sometimes in a way, it's it's fine to let them be overconfident and push through early, knowing that you're going to be able to stabilize later and make it absolutely impossible for them to finish the game off.
exactly, it's knowing that they have no direct burn is what really helps because that means you can take 29 points of damage and they can't do the 30th.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, what about round three?
Then that
Where
was a
did,
hand cutting mirror,
oh,
but he was
interesting.
playing stuff like Surprise Strike in the main, so it was a very angry deck. Which was
Yeah, we'll talk about the difference between using Surprise Strike and some of your choices like Jetpack soon.
Mm.
But so yeah, so he was playing a more aggressive hand. So was that just a 2-0 win to you because you were able to
uh,
control them out?
it was a 2-1. Game one, I got to actually do what's it called? Do some player skill expression stuff. But game
Hmm.
two, he DJ'd me 3 times, and game three, I DJ'd him 3 times. So there was just
Oh wow, yeah. Well,
it's funny because usually in best of threes, it's like game one and two are the non-games. Then game three, you both sort of worked each other out and you get to play a proper game. Instead, it was the other way around, where the first game was the proper game. Then game two and three were the absolute blowout.
just blow out energy thievery. Very
Yeah.
cool. So then you had three more rounds after lunch.
Yep.
What was your round four?
Another Boba Cunning, and
Wow.
it went exactly like the stream one, where I mean, game one he actually got there without the armor, but then game two and game three it was the same sort of thing where it's I'm on like 12, 13, 14 resources. They're on like 6, 7. They're trying to find a way to get a guy to stick. But you can see in my list, I've got absolutely criminal number of ways to bounce cards. So
Yeah, for sure.
you end up just sort of staying alive. I remember having to, for 4 mana, smuggle Bamboozle just to take the shield off of a crafty smuggler so I could kill it because I couldn't let him untap with
It's crazy.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got the lines, you've got the lines there, and that's I think the great thing about Smuggle.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I think this deck is a very unique deck within the game, and it's just very
exactly.
fun. It's just very fun to play. I think
Mm.
high
I
skill
mean,
ceiling as well, and I think there's a lot of different ways to make the deck, and you know,
different ways to make the deck and a lot of different play lines in game, which is
yeah,
why I like.
exactly.
Because as I said because I won a store showdown with it, and I did like the smallest write up ever. Because I basically said it is impossible to in text write how to play this deck
Yeah,
because
of course.
you can't really explain how to do every matchup because every single game with it is different because you have so many reactive options that are also proactive. So it's very very hard to explain. But then when I actually tried to do a write up, it's you realize that you can't go through and say if your opponent has 2 resource and you see them play like So they're playing like Kira or something, and you see him play the Heilbronn, what exactly to do to it, because you have so many different things that you could open into that, and that sort of dictates the whole game. Because sometimes into that opening, you're actually just playing a DJ because it's a 3-5 and things like that.
Yeah, just to have a strong body on the board to
Yeah, to just find their guy.
outdo someone else's.
Exactly, exactly. So it's a
Um,
very hard deck to explain, and that's why it's very fun to play because you find
well,
yourself
we'll
having to think about.
we'll do our best to try and dig into it in this short space of time that we have.
Okay.
But yeah, so what about round five?
Yeah, I can speed
How,
run the last two rounds. They were both Sabine on stream, and one of them didn't quite get me. Then the other one got me twice.
I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah, the
They'll
meme.
get you.
Exactly. It's that ECL wrecker, man. Thing is,
Yeah,
you think you're so cool. You're like, I'm gonna squeeze out a Greedo here, and they're licking their lips, looking at that wrecker in hand, going, "That's 6 base damage."
yeah, it's wild. Yeah, you got to be real careful with Rekka, and I mean, I feel like trying to force ECL out with a tech is the way to go in those
Exactly.
matchups.
You're like, please,
Yeah,
please
you got
ECL Dameron,
you got to bait it. You got to bait it, and then
please do it on
just
Poe. It doesn't do. It only does like 2 base damage if they discard. Please Poe.
yeah, exactly. It's like please discard as well.
And then
But
out comes
yeah,
Wrecker, and you're like, base.
so
It doesn't have the health.
so you finished 5-1. You
Yep.
lost in your last game. Was there any nerves that you might not be first place due to the Swiss and the way Swiss works?
I
Or
didn't see my tiebreakers going into the last round, so I played it, and I was like, oh man, because game 2 was 1 damage off of lethal. So I was like, oh, it's 1 damage off of lethal for first. Can't believe it. And I got demolished in game 3. Then I looked at my breakers, and I was like, oh, I've actually got really, really, really strong breakers. It's okay. It's okay.
yeah, for
But at
sure. I
the
mean,
time,
going undefeated till that point is a very strong point.
it was like,
So
at the time in game, when I missed it in game 2, I was gutted. But afterwards, then I was like, okay, it's
yeah, so you took home the trophy, the gold medal. You also took
yeah, yeah.
home the bronze medal from the day before.
Uh-huh.
What did you think of the trophies and
I
stuff?
went Alex this medal to give to him. I had all the medals that day.
Yeah, it's true. You could have just kept all of it for yourself. But yeah, no, it was really fun to present that to you guys, and I
They
think it's a
were
nice little touch. You know, it's a nice little attention to
really nice.
detail.
I liked
Uh,
the medals because they had a nice weight to them. Because
yeah,
sometimes
for sure.
the plastic ones, from like relay race in school and stuff, where you get the
Oh
plastic.
yeah, no, they're proper
I like
metal.
the metal ones. They were very very nice.
Yeah, very cool. Shout out to Zach. He's a very creative TO, and makes some very unique, cool prizes to go with his tournament. So
No, they're very
um,
good. It's honestly motivation to go to the next one, knowing that there's these metal medals up for grabs potentially.
nice, and obviously the tokens as well that we've been giving away and stuff on the stream. They
Good.
seem to be going down a storm with
Yeah,
people.
they've got a nice weight to them. It's just
Yeah,
nice to pick up
yeah, for sure.
because you're holding these cards all day, and they're basically the same as Lorcana cards if you ever played. They're sort of like
Yeah, of course.
dark
Yeah, I
blue.
mean, I actually double sleeve to give them a bit
Yeah,
more
same,
heft,
same. Give them a bit of yeah, a bit
just
strength.
because I'm not like the lightest when I'm
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
playing the
I know
game.
exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
It's- So yeah, picking up the medals and they got a nice weight to them. It's good. And same with the initiative and EXP tokens. I really liked them and the black and white sort of grayscale pictures on the tokens as well that you made. They're very
yeah.
nice.
It's
They look
still very cool. I'm hoping that we get a chance to do lots more tournaments and sort of like do shield tokens and like a double-sided droid and clone token for the
oh
next
that would
set
be
and all
very,
that kind
very
of
nice.
stuff.
For next set,
Yeah,
that would be very good. No,
yeah. So I think
I'm there for the
fingers
tokens
crossed.
and the medals, man.
Well, fingers crossed we get more events and we can start getting some of that stuff out. But yeah, let's for the second half of this video, let's get into the nitty gritty of the build.
Oh yeah.
Um, all right, so where to start? Really, there's a lot of cool text here, a lot of combos going on.
Yeah.
I think
I
let's start with a card that we haven't really been we haven't really seen used that much, to be honest, and that is enticing reward.
Right, yeah. So enticing reward obviously has great synergy with spare the target. So you get to upgrade your waylays to spare the targets because you
Hmm.
get to collect the bounty on the thing you enticing reward. And basically with this deck, past like mana turn 4, 5, your units are irrelevant. You're kind of trying to win the game with the units you already have in play, or you're trying to tech out more units. So units in hand are bad, basically, past mana turn 4, 5. And this deck
Okay.
add 2 non-unit cards to your hand, which is exactly what you want. Because you want to be digging for your Cunnings, and your Mclunkies, your Hotshot Deal, 44 Blasters to help close out the game. So it's sort of until more cards come out, because obviously there are more cards coming next set. This is I felt to be a very good filler card for filling out the deck. It's the kind of card that I'm hoping by the end of next set would be the 46th card. Sorry, not the 46th, the 56th card in the deck type thing, where it's playable,
Yeah.
but it's not better than your other options. But right now you don't have other options, so it just sort of goes in. You also kind of want a few more one drops to help flesh out when you DJ and steal an active resource to help, you know, just make the turn more efficient. And ultimately, in the first few turns with this deck, you're going to be rinsing your hand completely. So the ability to replenish your hand is really, really nice. Especially when you replenish your hand into cards like Spark of Rebellion that are straight discard cards. Because discard cards, ultimately, they're just one for ones. And if
Yeah,
you're entitled
absolutely.
one for one, one for one, one for one, you will lose if you don't have ways to give yourself more cards. And enticing reward is a way to give yourself more cards so you can continue doing this discard one for one strategy.
So
So yeah.
how often would you say this came into play, this card, during the
Well,
day?
unfortunately, because I played 6 aggro decks, not very often.
Yeah, I guess it was a quick pull out for your sideboard.
But in every other matchup, it comes up quite a lot.
So yeah, so you're doing quite a sort of underworld build. Um, a lot of McClunky usage. I see you got a McClunky in the sideboard.
Yep.
What would you bring the McClunky in the sideboard for kind of thing, and like
So,
what matchups would you be more focused, and give us some like example play lines that you would use it for.
so the McClunky is you want it early against aggro because it lets you use Greedo to shoot space units, and it lets you use Falcon to shoot ground units. So it lets you cross arena basically in the early game,
Hmm.
which is why you want it against aggro early. But then in the mid to late against the slower decks, it lets you return this really cool DJ card to your hand.
Oh yeah, it's pretty sweet.
And when you return that really cool DJ card to your hand, your even cooler hero ability lets you put it immediately into the resource pile and steal another resource. so
Yeah.
it's it's at 2 because I felt that I want to in these slower matchups to help extend my DJ count because that's how you win is you just repeatedly start punching their resource pile until they give up and play to board.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
you want the third because it's a very good anti-aggro tool in the sideboard because as I mentioned, you get to your strongest ground play turn 1 is Ezra Brigger, not Greedo, but Greedo is your second strongest early ground play, and Falcon's obviously the strongest early flying unit because it's a 3/4 that comes in active, and they're both underworld, so it lets you have a strong card in one arena that gets to go to the other arena if your opponent tries to avoid it. So you're going to really want Mclunky in the deck.
Ezra's really great. I really love that card.
Yeah.
how do you find it? Like, do you find it if you get it early game, it really impacts your chance of winning?
Ezra is the strongest turn 1 in the deck.
100%.
Yep. The real strength of Ezra Brigger isn't just because you get to some. Sometimes it's going to reveal the nuts, and you just get to play off the top of your deck for 2 turns and conserve 2 cards, and that's obviously insane when that happens. But the real strength of
I
the Ezra
love it.
Brigger is that it gets to you can discard the cards from the top of your deck, so you can self mill to skip a couple cards and get closer towards DJ or hand 7 for your hand flip turn. I
Yeah, sure.
I never cast Ezra Brigger from mana turn 4 onwards. It's only there for mana turn 2 and mana turn 3. But it is honestly so strong on those turns it merits being a 3 of. You just really want to see it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I honestly love the card so much. I find it can turn the tide in games early, and sometimes it's often ignored. It's always fun to put Hotshot Blaster on it as well if
Yep.
you're
Again,
if you're struggling for cards turn two.
it, it's the crux of your game plan against Sabine. You need a 3 attack unit. So Brigger or DJ or, well, I mean, Bodhi is fine, but rarely hits. Or Greedo, and you want a Hotshot Blaster or a Jetpack for their Sabine flip turn, so you can immediately answer it with a 5 attack unit. That way you don't have to bother with managing the Darksaber.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, in every other matchup, it's just a good unit to hit with.
Yeah, absolutely. So moving on to another cool tech that
Mhm.
hasn't been seen as a free of very often, but it's something that I've been using as a free of, kind of as a replacement for Surprise Strike. And we have an image in big of the Jetpack. So talk to me about Jetpack. Tell me everything about how it was impactful in your tournament.
Oh. Jetpack. Number one against Sabine, it lets your units have 5 attack, as I mentioned, to clear the Sabine, so you can at least try and stop that getting the Darksaber and killing you. In Mirror Match, you need it again, so you can make your units go from 3 to 5, and that will let you kill DJ to get your resource back for only 2 mana. So in the games, so in game one, in the hand cunning mirror, as I mentioned, that was the only one where there was any form of skill expression because we DJ'd the crap out of each other in the other 2 games. But in that one, I won that one because I was able to stick. I can't remember if it was an Ezra Brigger or a Kira, but I stuck a 3 attack unit and I just sat there passing down the turn because I'm gonna go back to the start. So turn one, I had initiative. My hand had Spark of Rebellion, Bodhi Rook, Jetpack, and Cunning. So I have to pass initially. I can't put a card into resource because if he has Spark and he takes my Bodhi, I'm just down a card. I also don't want to Spark because he might have kept a hand that has a 3-drop play and not a 2-drop play, in which case I get to do the thing that I was scared of happening to my Bodhi. So the first action I have to take on that is pass. And his action was Spark, and he took Cunning because it's the strongest card in my hand. So I then Spark him. Because he didn't take Bodhi, I know he doesn't have a non-unit card in hand, so I'm not going to bother doing the hand effect to play Bodhi, because I know he doesn't have it, because it's nonsense, otherwise he would have taken the Bodhi. So I Spark him, and his hand, at that point, is Tech, DJ, and hand 7. Okay? Because his hand has Tech and DJ in it, that means his resource pile is either exactly Tech, DJ, or Hotshot Blaster and Tech or DJ. So I don't want to take either of those with the Spark, because then I'm playing a bad coin flip, because like he might already have both, or he's got one of the two, in which case I'm coin flipping which one of the two he has. So I just take the hand 7, and I know he's got Tech DJ in hand. That means that I know for a fact on mana turn 4 he's going to hand effect. Sorry, on mana turn 3 he's going to play Tech. Then on mana turn 4 he's going to hand effect and DJ me. So knowing that, I know that I have to find a 3-attack unit and get it to stick on the board so I can jetpack it, because he didn't take the jetpack from me. So I can jetpack it and take back my resource. And to do that, it requires you to just sit there passing the turn a bunch of times until they do it.
Yeah, you need to basically bait them in. I mean, I find it very scary if people start um,
Just pass.
passing into me when I'm thinking about doing DJ and tech. But like I say, that's a good thing. If people are super scared of it, you can use that.
Well, I
Like,
know that he has the tech DJ thing. So if he's scared of me and doesn't do it on the turn, he has the advantage because of the tech. We're then both doing it on mana turn 5/7 basically turns. In which case it's even again because I'm able to do it now as well. So I get
it's
to
basically a
bypass.
case of like DJ chicken, pretty
Yep.
much.
Yep. I get to bypass the turn where he has the advantage. So then the jetpack. Other than that application in the mirror, the jetpack is really there because it helps you push damage. So a lot at the start of the game, you don't play very many units. You play like one a turn basically. So after your hand flip turn, you have like 3, maybe 4 units if it's been a good game in play. But as I mentioned, you don't really want to play more units to get to the board. So you need to find ways to make these units deal more damage. And Jetpack is a great way for that because it lets the unit survive a hit and deal more damage to your opponent's base.
Are you playing it a lot from hand then?
From hand, preferably, on the early
Yeah,
turns. But later on, it'll be from a Smuggle. But in the early turns, for 2 mana, it's a very, very, very strong card. The Smuggle is an upside for later on.
for sure. And so you think it's got like a lot of tempo strength, I guess.
Yeah, I think in the early game, especially stuff like the Han being a 4/6, the leader, sorry, being a 4/6, a lot of the time your opponent will have not a 1 card answer because it's 6. A lot of the time they'll have a 2 card answer. And so you get to disrupt their 2 card answer by playing the Jetpack because now they've done 1 card, so they want to commit to the second to kill it. And you play Jetpack, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I can't kill it anymore. I'm gonna have to find another line of play, but I've already committed to this one. So you find yourself getting that 6/3 damage with the hand, and then next turn they've then got to recommit to it, and it just sort of just helps you snowball it.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, so we touched on spare the target earlier,
Yeah,
but would you? Is there anything else to report on spare the target? Like, did you find any other uses other than just the bounce for enticing reward?
it's just for the enticing reward. I mean, some of the decks are playing bounty units like the Halibut Enforcer and stuff, and you can sort of surprise them with this because I don't think I've ever encountered anyone else playing this card yet. So a lot of the time they'll just assume you have Waylay, so they play their bounties out thinking they're gonna play their units out that have big stats but downside being bounty, thinking that they're just gonna get waylaid, but you get to spare the target and get a little bit of
How,
value.
how impactful do you think like those extra draws and stuff are then in those matchups?
I mean, the
Is it
card quality.
negligible or?
The thing is, the card quality in this deck is weird because the card quality is very low, save a few cards. But every card you draw, you can put into mana with hands. So despite how bad the card quality is overall, you still get +1 mana for the turn. So
Yeah, which
I would
is
say it's impactful, despite the fact that the cards you draw aren't impactful themselves.
for
The
sure.
fact that you get to convert them is what really extends it.
Okay, so let's move into the top end now. We've done everything else. Cunning, we don't need to talk about.
The top end is
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a short conversation, but we are
it's
almost
three
at the end of the video.
three hand
Um,
that 3 hand and whatever units they play. That's your top end.
well, Zori Bliss. So
She's not even.
one,
I mean,
you got a one of Zori. Tell me about her. What's going on there?
so some people are really, really, really rude, and they interrupt your hand turn and stop you reaching 7 mana. And I find that to be honestly reprehensible behavior.
Yeah, that's
So,
absolutely disgraceful.
exactly. It's honestly it's appalling. So you want a few cards that cost 6 from Smuggle, and I settled on wanting 4 of them, basically. So if your hand
So
turn gets interrupted, you get to play Zori Bliss or Mill Falcon.
fair enough.
Mitigate it
What
a bit.
did you play her once, or she's just like
Um,
she's just basically like a contingency plan?
she's more of a contingency plan than a thing you want to do. It's kind of if things go south, you can play her, and she's fine. She's got 7 health. It's a shame she's got
Fine,
4 because she's a cunning bounce target.
fine is definitely a way I would describe her, to be quite
Yeah, yeah.
honest.
It's fine.
So free hand sevens.
Yep.
A lot of people have been going on about two. I tried two.
No, no,
I
no.
prefer
Three.
three.
No,
It
you need
is it is
three.
the way.
He is such an unfair card. He is so likely to 3 for 1 your opponent. You just need him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know why people cut him down, and I've had a lot of people talk to me about the deck and say that they don't see him as a free off, but for me, he's just unbelievably powerful, and he
Yeah.
can just turn a game around. He causes so much disruption that you can just go up to mischief on the side whilst they're figuring out how they're going to deal with him.
buys
So it's
it buys you time, trades for cards, and ultimately, even if as I mentioned, if your opponent puts damage on your units as part of a 2 card combo, you have Mclunky to save it and Jetpack to save it, making them go, oh, now I gotta deal with it next turn as well.
yeah, Very annoying. Very, very annoying. I'm starting to see more and more why Jetpack's very strong card in
It's
this
just
deck.
because there's not very many ways to kill your good cards in one go. Your good
Yeah,
cards
absolutely.
tend to be, not always, but they tend to be sort of answered by 2 card combos or like hit removal spell or hit with 2 units. And the moment you disrupt it with a jetpack, they're like, ugh.
Yeah, because they've already committed, so it's just kind of annoying, isn't it? Right?
Exactly. It's literally just kind of annoying. That's what it is.
Yeah. So, but in this game, that can be the difference.
Yes. In the
Towards
ultimate.
the end.
Yeah. And the last
So
part, I was going to say the last part of the top end, other than the change of heart to steal their top end, because
yeah, we'll talk about change of heart more in a minute. But
the
you got
middle
you got
part,
the Frio of the Falcon, right? Is
yeah,
it Frio?
three. Three. I tried it at 2. I tried it at 1. Ultimately, when a game goes,
I love that card so much. People just forget about it. They're like, oh yeah,
yeah,
that's a
when
strong space
when a
threat.
game
But
goes bad, suddenly 5 space damage. They're like, hang on, I
yeah,
can have
that's like I can't ignore that actually. And you're just casually playing it from your energy after they finished you. They're
that.
like,
Yep,
whoa, hang on a minute. Now I
exactly.
can't do anything next turn either.
They suddenly have to take initiative to answer it immediately, and you're like, "Oh, okay. And then they try to do like the answer to it, and you go, all right, that's fine. Now I'm gonna DJ you, and they're like, oh no, he's back on the ground. I just committed to space.
I'm starting to think more and more like your version of the deck is just like it's like tricking people into committing to something and then being like, oh wait a minute, I've got 20 other play lines for you. Like
I think that's a fair statement actually, because as I said, I find that I don't have a solid game plan. I sort of have a loose idea of what I want to do, and every single game is different. So that's
yeah,
sort of
I think that's what I really love about this deck. Okay, so
yeah.
it's how it's dynamic and makes the game Star Wars in general quite different every game. Um,
Mm.
because I get like anyone, I can get quite bored when stuff becomes linear.
Yeah,
But
when you're sitting there, honestly, man, I've done the boba lines enough. I get bored of it so quick that I play Doctor Aphra in my spare times.
yeah, no, I can imagine. But like I say, this is why I play. This is why I play Han in set
Yep,
one and set two. It's
yep,
just such an interesting way to play the game and
exactly.
different.
And what the leader
Um,
does is something that no other leader does at the moment, where it lets you
yeah, for sure.
convert hand size for.
I mean, who doesn't want to play a turn ahead at the
Yep,
cost of a card in hand when it doesn't matter because you can play cards from your energy? It's so fun.
exactly.
Um, but yeah, so change of heart, two in the main, one in the side.
Uh-huh,
Talk to
uh-huh.
me.
Right,
Talk
so
to me.
I saw on the day before, I saw a bunch of Bosks, Kiras, and stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna farm all of these decks with hand. And I was like, you know how I'm gonna farm them even better if I've changed the heart in the main. Then I played 6 aggro decks, and I looked like a real idiot for putting change of heart in the main. This is
Love
what's
it.
happened.
So, I mean, if you had implemented it in the way you wanted to, what would you how would you have used it? Just basically stealing Avengers and stuff, right?
Yeah, because you have the discard cards that trade 1 for 1, 1 for 1 for 1, and you're playing from smuggle and stuff, so you ultimately don't have good hand size. So what you want is really high impact cards, because your opponent's going to go low in hand because because you're playing discard cards and you're applying pressure. So your opponent will go low in hand, so they have to play like one strong thing. And as soon as they play the one strong thing, it can even be a 4/6 Obi-Wan. You just take it immediately.
I mean, that's not bad, is it? And then you get the bonuses and stuff like that.
Yeah, the real bonus.
Potentially a draw.
Nah, it's 4 base damage. That's the bonus you're looking for. Forget this nonsense about EXP counters. 4 base damage. is the bonus you're looking
Yeah, I mean that's fair to be fair in this deck. That's actually hard to come by, right? There's only 7 cards that do that. So
Exactly. Yeah, everything's got like 3 attack. They play a 4 attack unit. You're like, whoa, 4! Hang on. This is unheard of.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
But going
um,
forward with the deck, as I said, I put the change of hearts in the main specifically for this tournament. But going forward, I definitely would want to play 3 change of hearts in the main.
Oh, right, really? That's
I
like the
think
gimmick of the deck.
it's
I
just
mean,
so good playing
I'll
one
tell
game.
you what. I mean, this is going to go out on Monday, I think, in a few days. So I'm going
Yeah,
to play Free Change of Hearts this weekend in the
good.
main.
Oh, and
Uh,
Sideboard 3 Tell the Dragon.
I have two Fell the Dragon in the side already, actually.
Okay.
I
Well,
already have that, yeah.
I want to pump those are rookie numbers. Get that up to 3.
I probably should. But
Can't
yeah,
risk can't risk like reinforcement walker or something touching the board. You're like, I can't kill that.
no, yeah, it's true. I mean, that's why I've added it in the first place, just to deal with because once big threats start coming down, it's
Yeah.
really a problem for this
You
deck. I'm
play
not
all these
gonna
cool
lie.
discard cards and they drop a turn a massive unit and you go, oh, hmm.
It's a bit saddening, honestly, a lot of the time when you see the big walkers and stuff. But
Do you think
let's
or you think you played a really cool game plan up until there? You're like, oh, I've been doing stuff. It's been going well. That unit has 8 attack.
so let's talk about your sideboard a bit. What about Final Showdown and just Evacuate? Is it for the memes, just for the legendary memes, or
So it's actually kind of funny, but Final Showdown is how you beat Sabine.
oh, what just basically
They only have
forcing them to pass and then just
25 base health.
yeah. So you just
They
beat
have
them
25.
at
Your game plan is I just need to stick like you just need to stick like a Han Solo and another unit with a hotshot blaster, and then they're dead, basically. Because it's like 11 damage, 22. You only need to have done like 3 with a Falcon or something at some point.
yeah. I mean, it makes total
That's
sense. I mean,
because I'm
honestly, I've never really found Sabine to be much of a problem for this deck. You've got all the
yeah,
tools
true.
like take down any plays they try. So,
Yeah,
but that I guess that just makes it easy mode. But it's only a one of right in your sideboard.
it's 2. I've got 1 evacuate.
One evacuate and
Yeah.
two final showdown. So, what's the evacuate used for?
The evacuate actually avoided that in quite a lot over the weekend, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I've got one in my side as well.
I
It's
just
just for
encountered
like
I kept encountering board states where I was like, can they just go away? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Just
yeah.
leave me alone for a turn.
A nice quick reset, and obviously, like as it gets to later game, you've DJ'd a bit.
Exactly. So you
You're
have
gonna be
more
ahead.
exactly because if you evacuate, so against Boba Cunning, it's kind of strong because, um, as I said later on in the game, when you end up with like 9, 10 resource to their 6, if they commit the 6 to fire spray and you evacuate, that's it. They can't play anything else.
Yeah, that's their turn over, and then
Then you get to play a thing to the board, and then suddenly you have the tempo again. Even though they have a bunch of cards in hand, it doesn't matter because you have the tempo and you can finally work out how you're going to mount an assault on them.
no, it
So
makes total sense.
is for that. But
What about Bamboozle? I mean, I use three of them
oh yeah,
in my sideboard. I have for a while. It's such a fun card to use.
such a good
It's
card.
it's got a bunch of uses as well as the obvious. But like, tell me how you like to implement this card.
I like to use this as a 0 mana. Please don't hit my base this turn. And honestly, that is a very strong effect in the game right now.
Yeah, no, for sure.
You
Just being
can
able to chuck a card away to pay the cost is pretty broken, really.
so to avoid being massacred in the comments this time round, if Bamboozle is in my resource pile and I have tech, can I play it by discarding a card, or do I have to pay 2 on top of discarding?
No, you would have to. It's a good question, actually. I would have to read
It never
into
came
it.
up. It never came up over the weekend, but there are a few.
Let me just have a quick read of the card, and I'll tell you what we can do with that.
Yeah,
So you may discard a card from your hand to pay this card instead of the no. So essentially, if you're smuggling, you would have to pay the smuggle cost, irrespective of if you do the discard or not, because smuggle is an effect in itself. So
all right.
you'd have to activate smuggle in order for Bamboozle to become a playable card. Do you know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, I definitely did that 7 times over the weekend, so you might as well take the trophy back now.
Yeah, no worries. That's fine. That's absolutely
I'll
fine.
mail it to you first class next day.
And there goes our view count. to the moon, to the moon.
No,
Yeah, no,
it
but you are
came up.
bit.
It came up that I could do it, but it never was better to lose the card in hand than the 4 mana.
Yeah, yeah.
Times that it
No,
did come up.
no, that makes sense.
No, Bamboozle honestly should just be a 3 of. The upgrade removal is very, very, very strong right now because every aggressive deck relies on either Dark Saber or Boba's armor. Well, it doesn't rely on, but those are the aspects of the deck that you can't beat.
Yeah, that's the way to for it to be easy mode for them if you don't answer that stuff.
Yeah.
So
So
same
that's what.
same with Kylo as well with the fallen lightsaber, right? It's all relative, very similar sort of items.
I had a. Oh no, I think it was I was playing Boba, but I had a guy playing Super Laser Tech against me, and he put the Vader's lightsaber on the Super Laser Tech, then overwhelming barraged it. I was like, what is this?
Wow, I mean that
He
you
got he
know,
got promoted, didn't he, man?
yeah, I was gonna say he got Vader
He's
must have seen him on one of his routine inspections and was like, "Force is
little bro.
strong with this laser tech."
Little bro's there tapping away at the keyboard. He's like, take my lightsaber, now command the fleet.
I mean, the sick thing is as well that once your opponent does eventually deal with it, it just becomes a resource like ready to go as well, like
I did have to
absolute
deal with it
value.
very quickly. I was not in the business of taking seven.
No, 100%.
But yeah, so the Bamboozle, it's just on the aggressive decks. The aspect that you can't manage is the upgrades. So the Bamboozle just helps with that. Also, in the late game against the aggressive decks, when they play their active guys like the Cassian Andors and the Fet Fire Sprays, just being able to go, look, I know you thought you were gonna get me this turn, but you're not.
Yeah. Sorry, yoink. There goes your unit that you thought you were going to kill me with.
It
Yeah,
helps a lot, yeah.
and then they take initiative and kill you anyway. But
Like,
it
no,
happens.
because you have 14 resource every time, I swear.
That's true. You can just
Because
do things.
if you have a tech in play and you play the Bamboozle for 0 from resource, you can obviously play more cards from I'm joking.
All right. So on that note, did you have any test partners for this? Have you got any shout outs before we jump off?
For the Han, I've played a lot against the Hexiled community that I mentioned
Hmm.
last time, and honestly, that's where I get all my hand testing, to be honest. Because locals, I play a lot of Afra because I think it's just funny. So,
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
well, for
Um,
locals, I don't really want to play like Boba or Han because like Han is. If Han gets the goods, it is so unfun to play against because the discarding you and stealing your resources are two of the most like unfun things to happen in the game.
yeah, I mean, I
So
one of
I
the
don't.
funniest lines I've had at locals was being told that it was more fun to play against double blue Iden in set one than my deck, and I was like, damn, DJ really got him good.
Yep, sounds like little bro's going through it there. I hope he recovers.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So
Hey,
yeah, thanks again as always, Joshua. It's been a real pleasure to have you on.
it's always a pleasure to be on.
And we will link your blog as always. You did a nice write up on the tournaments. Yeah, hope to see you at more tournaments soon. Are you
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
I'll be at
going to?
Sheffield.
Yeah,
Sheffield
you're
next.
going to be at Sheffield, so that's
Yeah,
coming up very soon. We
I
all the boys will be there. So
when I scrub Euros later today, I'll be at Sheffield, absolutely molding. So
oh god, he's gunning for that. He's gunning for that day one buy. He's gunning for that day one buy.
but I
But
think
yeah, no. And do you think you'll be playing in the Premier event as well?
the one in Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham, I think it
Yeah,
is
yeah, it's
in
on my
in
birthday.
November.
I have to play. I have to draw
On
well.
your birthday?
Yeah,
Wow. All
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm going to bring you a present in that case.
I hope your present is not birthday beats.
I mean, that would be pretty old school, but no,
It would take out the competition.
that's true. That's true. Unless you're running Jetpack, and then I'm screwed
Oh yeah.
because
Well,
I'm
yeah,
just punching Jetpacks.
I can block the first birthday beat, and then the other 30
Yeah.
gets.
But yeah, no, that sounds good. We'll definitely have to celebrate somehow. So yeah, thanks again, buddy. And yeah,
Always
don't
a pleasure.
forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and hopefully we'll have some new content for you coming very soon. But
Yep.
yeah, see you all next time.
Take care.